it's my honor to introduce the Director General for Labuan FSA, Datuk Danial Abdullah.
Am I supposed to talk now?
Yes,
so.
Go ahead, we're ready.
All right, thank you, Arthur. Thank you for this invitation. The chairman of the Labuan Fintech Association, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Warm welcome to you to this webinar on banking solutions for Labuan companies. I guess before I continue, can you hear me, all of you?
Yeah, we can
right,
hear you
no
fine.
problem. Right, okay. So I understand today's event is on conducting businesses in Labuan, particularly digital business and digital banking, and what are the issues that the Labuan company has in these aspects. So this is indeed very topical, considering the center has been moving forward with its strategy on digital business, and also in line with what is happening globally. I would like to thank the panel of industry experts for this virtual platform to share their insights and knowledge on the challenges and opportunities for such businesses in Labuan IBFC. We will be hearing from them the evolution of banks brought forth by digital innovation in financial services. They will also be sharing their perspectives on Labuan digital banking business, its potential, and as well as its value proposition vis-a-vis other jurisdictions. We hope all participants will benefit from this webinar, and I would like to thank the Labuan Fintech Association, LFTA, for organizing this event. Ladies and gentlemen, while the COVID-19 pandemic has caused market uncertainties globally, there are these new norms of increasing digital utilization like what we are doing now, and many organizations have shored up digital transformation in their operations, catering to customers' expectations as well as needs. There have been acceleration and scaling up of digital solutions provided to customers, particularly in the financial services sector. For example, places like UAE, Qatar, have in the Middle East have reported significant increase in digital banking activities, citing figures of 60% increase in the use of digital platforms. Nearer to home, according to a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers, digital banks in Southeast Asia are reporting a significant increase in the registration of digital banking services, especially during this pandemic movement control period. Therefore, there is no better time to extol the benefits of digital solutions than now. In the case of Labuan IBFC, it has experienced as well tremendous changes in the last decade. New technologies have, of course, accelerated our pace of change at quite a remarkable level, to the extent that the value propositions of our financial products and services, including for the service providers, have been redefined and reshaped. Let me now just share a bit of our digital journey of Labuan IBFC, which started effectively maybe about 4 to 5 years ago, with the infusion of new digital technology and its accompanying business opportunities. Labuan FSA has calibrated its policies to accommodate the digital business landscape. While most other jurisdictions adopt regulatory sandbox approach, we have opted for a more open approach without a special license needed to operate innovative financial businesses. What we have done is to adapt existing legacy licenses that has to facilitate digital players to conduct their business. We need to be agile and flexible in this aspect. In fact, from just one license in 2017, the digital family has since expanded with an influx of digital business ranging from digital banking, insurtech, to intermediaries such as robo-advisory, digital exchanges, crypto trading platforms, blockchain tokens providers, as well as e-payment systems setups in Labuan IBFC. For 2019, alone, a total of 28 new licenses were approved to operate in Labuan IBFC, out of which 15 are digital trading intermediaries, 7 e-payment systems providers, 5 credit token issuers and traders, 2 digital banking providers, and 2 new digital exchange, including Fusang Exchange. However, while Labuan FSA supports this innovation as their impetus for expanding business boundaries, as a regulatory body, it is incumbent on us to ensure these businesses are sound and have proper market conduct practices. Such digital business must be properly managed by having sufficient capital resources, adequate internal controls, and strong risk management and governance. These prudential and regulatory measures are needed to mitigate any inherent risks that are brought about by the very nature of digital businesses, such as limited human interface, its wide reach, its tremendous swift technological changes, speed, as well as other cyber risks. Towards this end, Labuan FSA will regularly review our regulatory requirements for the conduct of Labuan digital financial businesses to ensure that they are carried out in a sound, transparent, and professional manner. This will give regulatory certainty and comfort to all stakeholders, while at the same time enable our players to pursue innovation and to facilitate new business models. Other than the digital market space, of course, as you are aware, Labuan IBFC is home to more than 6,000 active entities, which include banks, insurance-related entities, trust companies, and other niche business sectors and intermediaries. In terms of industry performance, the Labuan IBFC industry has performed well in 2019 with stronger inflow of investors and financial institutions, particularly from the Far East countries. Wholesale financial businesses in banking and insurance remain to be key areas of growth with increased profitability. Overall, there will also greater focus on out international business with lesser reliance on Malaysian business. Please do check our industry market report for 2019, which has been released recently and uploaded on our website. In 2020, of course, businesses continue, but at a slower growth pace due to, as we all know, to the pandemic. Like everywhere else, Labuan has also been affected by this unprecedented situation. Taking cognizance of the COVID-19 situation, we have realigned our policies and strategies for 2020 to the current economic realities and also to regionally monitor the impact of the pandemic on the center. Similar to our peer regulators, Labuan FSA has provided temporary regulatory reliefs to our industry players to alleviate their regulatory burden and to offer some level of flexibility so that Labuan entities and financial institutions can provide business continuity and services to their clients. We are also scanning the environment for new emerging risks and possible threats that would undermine the stability of the center, particularly those related to cyber and money laundering risks. We have also planned measures for post-COVID-19 to adopt to the new norms in the changed business landscape, such as increase in the utilization of digital channels, regulatory changes to cushion market impacts, more proportionate supervision, and engagements with the industry like the Fintech Association to manage the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding the challenges and the uncertainties, I strongly believe there will be exciting times and opportunities ahead in the future. I hope this webinar will provide us with further insights and knowledge on reinventing and re-anchoring ourselves to the new ways of making and conducting businesses, particularly in Labuan IBFC. On this note, I wish everyone a productive and insightful discussion ahead. Thank you very much, Arthur. Thank you.
All right, Datuk DG, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for the opening remarks and giving everyone on the call a clear picture of the current status today in Labuan.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. All right, so to move forward, so those of you who maybe have not met me before, I am Arthur Lee. I am the moderator for today's webinar. I'm with Fusang, Asia's digital securities exchange, operating right out of Labuan. And one of the key things I wanted to mention was that what the jurisdiction has done for those who are a little bit new to Labuan is that it's used legacy licenses such as money broker and credit token licenses to provide pretty much the regulatory umbrella to support digital businesses going forward. And since 2017, yeah, about 30 licenses or more are approved to be operated as digital entities. This includes digital banking, insurtech, robo-advisory, digital asset exchanges, crypto trading platforms, and the biggest thing happening in technology today, blockchain tokens. Now with the COVID that's hit, along with all the stuff that's happening with the U.S. trade wars and potential sanctions that will happen against China, two biggest economies in the world, things are going to really shift in the financial markets. Now, what does that mean for the financial sector, right? It's accelerating the speed at which transformation is needed. The needs of the end consumer is changing, and there are boundless opportunities to then drive new economic growth and recovery for everyone in the world. Now, everyone on this panel, I want to introduce everyone. We've got Kevin Fu. He is from KPMG. We've got Warren Raiti. He's coming out of New York with Nevis International Trust Bank. And we've got Stephen Wong with China Construction Bank, Joseph Seibert from Signature Bank, and Gopal Kiran. We got him from Deloitte. Thank you all, everyone on the panel, for joining us today and sharing a lot of knowledge on banking solutions for Labuan. Okay, so how we're going to run this? Look, I understand every organization on the panel has a different understanding, perhaps, of what the problems that they're trying to solve for the jurisdiction, and what we're facing today, or where their focus is on how they're solving the problems. And we're all here to learn from each other, how we can collectively best serve the jurisdiction. So what I'd like to address every single panelist individually, one-on-one, with some Q&A. And then obviously keep in mind that the audience is looking specifically to hear what solutions are available today to them for Labuan businesses and what's coming down the pipeline. Okay, so I think if we can just answer in this scenario where I'll start with Kevin Fu. What we'd like to hear is what key problems is KPMG tackling, right? And what solutions are available today, or basically how are you advising your clients to operate within this jurisdiction, and what's coming down the pipeline? So we'll start with you, Kevin, because you shared with me a white paper, or actually it's I guess a survey that you guys had done that you summarized in this digital ebook called The Digital Banking, The Inclusive Agenda. So I read through that, and it is a capture from, I guess, from Malaysia overall, as far as the current challenges for banking in general, and what the concerns are. So I thought that was very interesting that you can actually share that with the audience.
Sure. Thanks, Arthur.
Yep.
Yeah, so KPMG did conduct a survey. This was a survey done between September 2019 to February 2020. So we had 1,200 plus respondents nationwide in Malaysia. So this survey was launched in May of this year, so smack in the middle of the MCO. And I'll share with you some of the interesting findings that we have from that survey. I think the first thing was that we noticed that 74% of respondents visited bank branches less than 12 times a year. So that's shows that the relevance of brick and mortar bank branches is not as relevant as we thought it would be. That's because people are now moving more to digital. The other interesting finding is that more than 80% of our respondents say that they are comfortable with banking with a digital bank. So more than 80%. However, they do have concerns. So 84% of respondents are concerned of the security and confidentiality of the platform. So they want to make sure that if they're going to go on it, it has to be regulated, perhaps by Bank Negara Malaysia. So at least they know that they have some comfort there. 48% of respondents also think that uploading their documents, their personal documents for Know Your Client processes would be challenging to them, especially with all these cybersecurity concerns and risks at the moment. The other thing we also asked about our respondents are, what are preferred features would you like in a digital bank? Overwhelmingly, 40% of respondents hope to see more lifestyle features in a digital bank. So things like rewards, loyalty programs. So I think that's a reflection of the times that we have now in Malaysia. The other key findings we had, which I can share with you also, is 77% view digital banks as the next evolution in financial services. 82% are already using internet banking functions of their existing banking services. 82% will open a bank account through online platforms as long as they're regulated at Bank Negara. 79% expressed interest in financing products made more accessible to them. And this other finding that was quite interesting is that 52% prefer to perform online applications for financial services, and 45% of respondents use e-wallets at least once a week. Of course, this was done before the MCO. I think with the MCO, we've seen that online e-wallets are double the movements. This is because people are now, as you mentioned earlier, more into digitalization, transforming, getting familiar, and getting on board to the e-wallet platform. So yeah, so this survey we've shared with the LFTA, so it will be sent out to the respondents, to the participants of this course as well.
Okay. So with all this data that's being collected, now how is it then being distributed and shared with the community for basically solutions to be developed? And if I understand it, this survey was done across all of Malaysia. I guess with respect to Labuan, I'm assuming some of the respondents came from there as well.
Yes, we've had some respondents from Labuan, Sabah, Sarawak.
Okay. Yeah, so how are you guys sharing that data? So then so we've got the data, happens a lot. We get some feedback from the consumers or the end user. So what happens next? How do you guys put that into play?
All right. So as I mentioned in May, we actually had it published. So it was in the newspapers and all. Yeah. We're also talking to our clients or potential clients, those who are interested in looking into digital banking as an avenue in Malaysia. That's because, as everyone's aware, Bank Negara Malaysia is issuing licenses, 5 digital banking licenses in Malaysia. So there's an opportunity for companies, not just banks, but non-banks, to participate in the digital banking arena. Right.
So out of those 5 licenses, from my understanding, as if you, I guess, compared to Singapore or Hong Kong in a sense that they're able to test out a portion of the platform to the market before they go, I guess, full on. But it seems like with these 5 bank licenses in Malaysia, they've got to be fully baked, ready to go. That seems like that's where it needs to be. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, yeah, certainly. It's new for everyone in this region, so it'll be something that they'll have to consider. So technology, getting the platform in place, getting the right partners.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess let's talk about some of your clients then setting up operations in Labuan. Maybe you don't deal with them directly, but KPMG, what is the advice that you give then your clients as far as setting up business there? Who do you refer, in general for banking partners? What is the, what do you tell them?
Setting up in Labuan.
Yeah.
Well, Labuan, yeah, I think as Datuk mentioned just now as well, the IBFC have been very
Right.
we've been giving lots of good incentives in setting up in Labuan,
Right.
being the offshore financial center of Malaysia. So yeah, there are definitely lots of opportunities there for financial services, banking, insurance, asset management. So yeah, and setting up there, it's easier to set up because of the difference in the restrictions from onshore and offshore.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there are now lots of financial service companies, professional services companies, including KPMG, where we have an office in Labuan. So yeah, I think Labuan has seen tremendous growth in the last few years.
Right, no doubt, no doubt. Okay, just want to note to all the attendees, there is a chat function on Zoom. Now, if we have time, we can go over the questions. If we don't, we will actually email all the attendees on this call answers to some of your questions if we can't get to it. So we want to make sure that you're served. Additionally, I guess the e-document I was mentioning with Kevin, we'll share with the community as well, or give you the link to access it. Okay, so let's move over to Joseph Seibert, Signature Bank. You're NASDAQ listed, based out of New York. One thing I liked about, I guess, the focus on your bank is that it is address the financial needs of private businesses and who find themselves underserved. You know, you've got your Signet system, blockchain-based platform, I guess payments platform. You've got custody, prime brokerage. You're supporting a number of exchange players in digital assets, Huobi, Bitstamp, and Kraken. So pretty forward thinking with, you know, the type of clients you need to support. Share a little bit about, you know, how you're tackling just broadly, banking in Labuan, or how you're supporting the jurisdiction, or any plans that you have in the future.
Sure. Thank you, Arthur, and thank you to everyone, the Fusang team, for inviting me. And hello to Warren. It's been a while since I've seen you in New York, and we've been working remote since March 17th because of the pandemic, but our team is well equipped to work remote these days. And so when you think of banking now, everything has changed. The landscape has changed, and the digital world has taken over. But the key for Signature was finding a team, which was ours, that could have the experience and bring it to a bank that was top 40 in the US, but be global friendly. And one of the key aspects was transparency. So a lot of firms that come to find Signature as a banking solution know that you have to go through a due diligence process to make sure we can check off some boxes, regardless of the jurisdiction you're in.
Right.
So funds flow is a very key component, and it's not just the jurisdiction you operate in; it's your neighbors. So you're doing business with Europe, Asia, the U.S., and you really have to know your customer. Know the intricacies of how their coin movement works, and then a platform that makes sense off the Fed banking window. So as you know, in the US, there's a certain restriction when you're sending wires. You have to fall in this certain category of Eastern time zone. And what we did was build Signet, which is our own proprietary blockchain, but it is a token. So, it is a $1 representation of a USD. And what we do is hold that money in an omnibus account on our balance sheet and allow those tokens to be utilized 24/7, 365 on our platform. And there's no limitations, and as far as transaction amounts, and there are no fees. So if you talk to the industry, they want low-cost solutions to speed up payments. What better way to do it at no cost, and to make it 24/7 and settle in under 10 seconds. So when we thought about building this ecosystem, the key was you have to have a vibrant ecosystem. And we started off with the exchanges. So all the big names that you're aware of, you mentioned Bitstamp, Kraken, there's dozens of others. And it starts with them. We call them the octopus. And you get all of their counterparties here to settle under one roof, so that it makes sense for them to do business day and night and not have to worry about all the other functionalities that go into deploying labor off that time zone. And the key for us was to get regulatory approval. So we were the first bank in the US to get regulatory approval to launch a token. And the NYDFS, as you know, takes you through a BIT license application if you want to take New York clients. But being a regulated bank, we thought, why not have a bank do this instead of a fintech company launch a token, which there are some successful stable coins out there. But our goal ultimately is, once there's complete regulatory approval here in the US, for this token to speak outside our walled garden. But right now, it is a private closed loop blockchain, but it still works for many entities all over the world. So again, to back up, the key for us was to be global friendly. You can't be a US bank and only bank US companies. It's just not going to work. So when you look at the jurisdiction, you don't have to bank every jurisdiction. But as you know, the neighboring jurisdictions are what matter the most. You know, how the funds flow is moving. Is it isolated? You know, is there a way to trace it? And is there transparency? You know, so if you think about an exchange, they have to have a very sound AML KYC policy. They got to know their customers. They got to be able to produce identification and packages upon receipt when we're trying to understand certain transactions and trace wallet activity. And I think that can be done for any company that's starting in jurisdictions that are friendly. You know, whether it's in Asia, Europe, or the US, if you have a sound practice and you have a sound team, and you have people that are experienced and know what they're doing, we're the partner bank that will help, because we have been in this space since 2014. We've built out this ecosystem for a reason. You know, we continue to invest resources to help entities that are just starting out, or entities that have perhaps been asked to leave their bank for one reason or another. And you know, the level of comfortability here in the US is still not where it is overseas, but I think it's coming. You know, the likes of JP Morgan recently making the announcement, banking Coinbase and Gemini was good for the industry. And I think that can only help. And it's going to help the regulators understand that this is an asset class that's here to stay. So for us, we're glad we have a head start, but by no means are we going to put the brakes on. We're going to go full steam ahead. We're going to continue to enhance Signet to make it even better. Perhaps roll out foreign exchange, you know, have multi-currency wallets instead of just a USD wallet. You know, do other components. We recently launched an API, a REST API that you can connect to. And that was big for the exchanges to automate their activity and fill order books. So for us, it's just continuing to be a digital bank. And when you think about, well, how do I open an account with a US bank based in New York if I'm in this jurisdiction? Well, you use DocuSign, right? Everything's digital now. You know, as long as we're comfortable with identification and going through all the processes, we don't need you to come in. We don't need you to fly in to sign documents. You do that through DocuSign, we verify you, and we give you wire instructions, and within 7 to 10 days, you can pretty much operate efficiently.
That sounds great. I mean, definitely, I think, like as I mentioned before, the whole world is really changing to go all digital, not face-to-face. And I think even with respect to the Zoom call, right? It's great that we can actually leverage technology like this to gather in the comforts of our offices and homes, but still deliver a valuable content to the audience. All right, so I'll move over to China Construction Bank, Stephen Wong. So you're the first to clinch the approval for digital banking in Labuan, and that was August of 2019, correct? And so I guess you know, just like to share with the audience, at what capacity are you supporting local banks today, and how will you utilize the digital banking license to support Labuan overall?
Thank you, Arthur.
Yep.
Let me begin with a snapshot of China Construction Bank. As a bank, we have commenced operation in Malaysia in 2017. All right, that is part of CCB Malaysia, which is an onshore jurisdiction, and which is also a subsidiary of CCB International. All right. So last year, we have basically commenced operations in Labuan. It's actually a direct branch from our head office, and ever since we have started that, you have rightly put it. We are the first bank in Labuan to obtain the digital bank approval. So what we have done is, let's take one step back. As a group-wide corporate strategy, our strategy basically three strategies that the bank is embarking on. One is on financial inclusion. So that is something that is core to our group in terms of driving financial inclusion, not only in China but anywhere and everywhere that we are operating in. Second is on home leasing or house leasing. This is something that is also very dear to our heart in terms of ensuring that not only do we have financial inclusion, we also ensure that people are able to have homes, all right, a roof over their heads. Okay, so this is the second strategy, group-wide strategy. Third is on fintech. All right, fintech is where the bank is. We know that as a bank, there's always this saying, a bank trying to become fintech and a fintech trying to become a bank. So as a bank, we find ourselves, we do not want to be labeled what do you call it, dinosaur. We pride ourselves as the most advanced fintech bank in China today. Why am I saying that? Because today CCB is not only a bank, as a bank, but today we also help to provide core banking system to some of the sister enterprises in China. We support their core banking needs. All right. One example is Exim Bank in China. It is something that we are also as CCB we are also supporting them. All right. So back to Labuan, what role do we play in terms of how far have we gone, progressed in terms of the digital functionalities or capabilities? So today in Labuan, we have launched basically the blockchain settlement. All right, we did our own closed loop called EasyPay. So it is something that we are actually facilitating payments between the offshore, in Labuan and also in China. That's within the closed loop. So we have done that. We have launched that. Today we are doing very well in terms of transactions. So lowering the fees and the settlement costs. And this is something that we plan, using Labuan as the hub to basically expand globally or at least expand regionally. All right. Okay. So and how are we going to do that is, all right, recently we have been approved as what you call it as a SIF. CCB Labuan has been approved as the SIPS, all right, China Interbank Payment Settlement, all right. So we have been approved as the SIPS partner. So we plan to use Labuan as the hub, at least regional, as a regional for us to basically settle renminbi, all right. So we'll be one of the, in the coming months, we will have a lot of opportunities, to basically offer to a lot of players out there, banks, non-banks, and also companies out there. Use CCB as a platform for you to do your renminbi settlement, all right? And how we do that, as I mentioned earlier, we have launched our closed-loop blockchain, and we are the second largest bank in China and in fact globally. So these are things that we feel that we are able to facilitate in terms of digital, in terms of fintech, in terms of driving the whole ecosystem, not only in Labuan but in ASEAN. Okay. Let me add on to that. With the digital bank approval in Labuan today, our approach is not. You see, a lot of times people thought a digital bank, a digital bank is not an upgrade of a wallet. I mean, a lot of people have this misconception that it has to be lifestyle, it has to be a wallet 2.0. It has to, but it's much more than that. And how do we basically, to us, CCB, how do we use digital bank to fulfill our core strategy, the fintech strategy, the home leasing strategy, and also the financial inclusion strategy. And that is what we always look at, at the very core of what we are trying to do, what we are trying to achieve. Okay, so we are taking what they call it, a holistic approach. We do not want to go out to the street and start acquiring customer. I mean, just like the wallets, the cost of acquisition is so high, going out one by one. We look at ecosystem. We digitize ecosystem. All right. We work with our existing customers. We do have an existing customer base, ranging from the industrial park, the hospitals, the manufacturing plants, and all those infrastructures. So we will basically go to our customers who are basically partnering with us. And one example is, I will give you an example, is the industrial park, all right, that we are financing. We will go to the industrial park and say, all right, we are financing you, we're partnering with you. How can we equip your whole industrial park or the ecosystem in terms of digital? All right, how could we facilitate the payment landscape, all right, and whatever that is within that ecosystem? And we feel that, by doing this, not only do we capture the 2G, I mean, to government, to B, to business, and to C. So basically, 3 segments, all right, we are able to capture. At the end of the day, when we do that well, basically, we also capture the 2P, peer-to-peer. Basically, within that ecosystem, the peer-to-peer can actually, transact. So this is what we are looking at holistically. This is what we feel that the digital bank should be not, because today the misconception is digital bank is still going out there to compete with the wallets, and then the wallets run the digital bank. That is not the case, all right? And a lot of digital bank out there is just focusing on retail. I mean, it is quite evident to note that not many digital banks out there are profitable today because, if you're just focusing on cost of acquisition is so high, and then retail, there's no loyalty because one day, they'll just, they can just switch every hour as long as, who can offer them a better reward, a better rebate, So this is not what we're looking at. So we want to have stickiness. We want to build ecosystem, digitize ecosystem, all right? And this will be long term. We partner with our customer, existing customers. We are not going out to the mass market, but in terms of partnership, in terms of collaboration, this is the way we feel that, going forward as a bank, how do we drive digital?
Okay. Well, there's a question from one of the audience. Perhaps you can take this question. So it's how to link correspondent bank relationships with all global banks to facilitate payments in various currencies via the digital banking setup. Okay.
Okay, this is some commercial time. Come to us, have a chat with us. In fact, as I mentioned today, I mentioned earlier, we plan to build a renminbi hub in Labuan.
Understood.
Right? So any parties or any banks out there, if you're looking into a corresponding bank relationship, do come and speak to us. But of course, my what do you call it? My disclaimer is always, we have to go through the proper onboarding due diligence checks. All right, that is very important. As we comply to the respective jurisdiction, the respective rules and regulations. The regulators' requirements. So that is for sure.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Stephen. Let's move over to Warren. So Warren, Nevis is very modern and forward-thinking, in the sense that you've got operate in New York, Philadelphia, London. Understand that you operate out of no cash deposits, so it's all done through SWIFT. And you and I had discussions and wanted you to share with the audience around what you actually have as a solution today and how to put it in play.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, first of all, for having us. I'm happy and proud to be here to represent Nevis International Bank and Trust, and grateful also to our partners in Malaysia, HWGG Capital and HWGG Investment Bank, who we work very close with as our customer onboarders, and Mr. Gavin. So thank you to them as well. At a high level, the function of Nevis International Bank and Trust is to provide a turnkey solution for fintechs all over the world, as well as high net worth individuals and established businesses. So what we've really focused on is taking the called the Wall Street approach and a very high degree of financial technology focus, and exposing that and introducing that into various different emerging markets that are having trouble accessing correspondent banking relationships. So our main goal and what we really offer is the ability to efficiently and transparently onboard to a international or global correspondent banking structure, so that companies and fintechs and individuals can effectively and efficiently remit payments on a global level. So currently, Nevis International Bank and Trust, as you mentioned, operates in London. We have affiliates in Philadelphia, New York Stock Exchange listed affiliates as well. And part of this process is really to develop a 360-degree product offering to emerging markets that is readily available in New York, readily available in the US, but not necessarily readily available in Labuan or in other emerging markets, especially Asia Pacific. So NIBT, at the moment, we clear about 9 different currencies on a daily basis: USD, Singapore dollar, Great British pound, the euro, Australian dollar, Swiss franc, Hong Kong dollar, Japanese yen, and the Canadian dollar as well. And it was actually, you asked an interesting question earlier, which is how do banks in Labuan connect with the correspondent structure? And that's something that we're very proud to effectively offer as an entree to our clients in these different markets. So we currently clear through 5 or 6, both direct and indirect correspondent banking institutions. We're very happy right now to be onboarding 2 of the largest correspondent banks in the United States and globally, who we're in very late stage discussions with, which is excellent. And all of this is really part of our intention in founding this institution, which is how do we promote efficient financial technology connectivity to the world. Like I said, it's very easily accessible in the US. We're here to bring that level of speed, efficiency, fluidness that you get from products like, if you've heard of Robinhood or Stash, or some of the online digital banks in the US, which are very, very fluid in terms of their interaction domestically. We want to bring that on an international level, and that's really what we offer as our primary goal. And it's been exciting so far to see and to, frankly, learn how to plug into this international process. Everyone on the call has said it, but having incredibly well established and well structured AML procedures, controls, transparency, both in terms of client onboarding and in international payments as well, is incredibly important. That's something that's demanded by all international correspondent institutions. And the way that the correspondent structure is set up, it can actually be quite confusing to fintechs that are trying to break into it or trying to get access to it. But it's really set up as a hub and spoke system. So what Nevis International Bank and Trust has done at this point is we have inserted ourselves into the hub of that system. So especially as it relates to US dollar, the way that, or many other currencies, the way that the system works is you'll have more and more small groups of extremely large banks that will have one-to-one correspondent banking relationships with many banks all over the world. And it's getting more and more difficult as time passes to access those relationships, what's called indirectly. So if you're a downstream correspondent, you have significantly higher costs as well as delays associated with processing your payments than if you're associated with a hub provider like a Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Bank of America, who have literally hundreds of thousands of direct correspondent relationships. So the way these payment processes work and what we plug into by being connected with some of these larger institutions is basically the ability to clear in some cases a day, in other cases 2 to 3 days, payments from jurisdictions all over the world. There are obviously due diligence challenges and AML challenges that arise in connection with this. And it's been a founding principle of Nevis International Bank and Trust that we're going to meet those challenges with technology, which is effectively what everyone in Labuan is already doing. It's been done in the US. You know, we're talking about simple scanning of documents. Certainly agree with Joe. There's no reason to have to walk into a branch in this day and age. You can serve a global populace. But you need the right technology tools to do it. And so that's really what we bring to the table. Working through HWGG Capital and HWGG Investment Bank, we're taking currently applications in Malaysia, we're onboarding clients in Indonesia, and really focusing on Asia Pacific as a core region. So look forward to answering any questions that I can about the process and just about correspondent banking in general from our perspective. It's really been quite an educational process for us.
Thanks, Warren. And apologies, you might have seen me go off camera a couple of bits. Did a faux pas. My laptop was not charging, so apologize for that. All good now. Okay, let's move over to Gopal of Deloitte. You know, you've got 6 years out of KL in Malaysia, previously with AmBank, EY, and now with Deloitte. I guess maybe you can share your perspectives of what's been going on within your organization, and you know, maybe share a little bit about maybe comparing other offshore jurisdictions and how you're advising your clients.
Sure. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Arthur. So I think as of today, we are busy with 3 to 4 different kind of activities. One is as Kevin has mentioned, the digital banking in Malaysia. I think this is getting very exciting. So far, we see around some 40 to 50 different players, non-Malaysian, be it from Korea, Japan, Thailand, from US, Europe. They're interested to come to Malaysia, apply for the digital bank license. So we are currently managing the consortiums, helping some of the clients to establish a digital bank in Malaysia. That is one thing we are quite busy. And the second part is helping some of the existing banks on digitization, how they can transform the front end, back end, middle office, back office to upgrade the branding, go fresh to the market. That is another exercise we are doing. The third one is helping the fintechs, how we can use fintech or plug in fintech solution to solve some of the corporate problems of the enterprises, be it fintech or insurtech, regtech, prop tech. So these are some of the areas we are working on. And the fourth is very fundamental, and I think this is quite important, is how do we manage the risk. I think digital is the new way forward. So one leg you have to have on all this innovation, and the other leg you have to focus on how do you manage the risk associated with all this, be it strategic, cyber, operational. So there's another leg we are currently helping on. So quite interesting times in Malaysia. We see a lot of traction, and in fact, in all my conversations with clients, whoever want to come to Malaysia, I always have Labuan in my menu of options. If you want so and so, you have can go for this kind of a license. If your priority is so and so things, you always have Labuan as an option. So there's always there in my pitch as well. So for your second question on comparing Labuan with other jurisdictions. So I think fundamentally, if we look at for anyone to choose a offshore destination or to open an offshore bank, I think fundamentally they look for the speed how speed you can open the bank account. Can we do this opening of bank account or offshoring an account or opening a company in offshore jurisdiction by remotely? That is another parameter. And then the third thing comes about the rules and regulations with respect to that jurisdiction and the reputation. So globally, if you look at there are so many jurisdictions in the market. Some of them are known for quick opening. Some of them are known for low deposit. Some of them are known for remote opening. For example, Belize is known for remote opening, low deposit. Swiss, I think they have known for the best privacy laws and their asset holding. So in each jurisdiction is known for different attributes. But if you look at Labuan, I think based on what I see Labuan in the last 2-3 years, I think they're offering innovative tools, be it digital banks, insurtech, tokens, securities, a security exchange, payments processing, asset management firms, so and digital custody. I think these are some of the things which I see Labuan is promoting. But if I compare it with other entities like say DIFC, Dubai International Finance Center, which is something close to my heart, although they also do some of these things, what I see different is Islamic fintech. They are also promoting. I also see Labuan also doing it, but DIFC is promoting more on Islamic fintech. They also have some kind of a co-working space as a tool. They offer a specific license for innovation testing. That is something new. Although I hear from Datuk earlier that Labuan is not doing a sandbox kind of an approach, but a few other entities like DIFC, they are offering some innovation testing license. If I compare with Belize IFSC, I think they are also offering many of the tools which DIFC or Labuan IBFC has, but additionally, they also promoting tools with respect to trading in Forex, money broking, international asset protection and management. I think in a compare and contrast, I see the number of tools available has increased significantly in the last few years in Labuan. That is a good sign. And I see based on some of the reports I read from the Labuan, I see the number of companies coming to Labuan are increasing like around 6.4% growth in last 1 year. And then and 58% of the Labuan companies are coming from Asia Pacific, and I see colleagues from the US also coming to Labuan. So I see that's a good sign. And then for many of these digital banks who want to come to Malaysia, be it conventional or Islamic, so Labuan is always one option for them to consider and evaluate the pros and cons.
Okay. Well, I guess, look, I think the whole world's still trying to think about how it needs to adjust after post-COVID. Lots of things are going to change. We can say everything's going to go digital. Honestly, the end consumer and their demands is actually going to be at the forefront. How do you think that overall companies will adjust?
So I think all the entities or the clients whom we are talking to, they are adopting a two-pronged kind of a strategy. One is how do you leverage on your existing network to serve your clients better. On the other way, since physically we cannot do many things today, they are all promoting a digital way of doing things, be it digital payments or digital serving, digital account opening. I think we in Malaysia, we got the eKYC guidelines. So everything they're promoting in a two-way, one leg on the physical way of doing things, the traditional ways, and the other pushing towards on the digital agenda. So.
Okay. That's kind of open to all the other panelists. What is your thinking or your predictions of how your respective organization needs to shift and change?
Glad to take that. With a traditional bank like Signature Bank, you have to think back to when this bank was incepted in 2001. It was built on traditional commercial real estate lending, business-to-business lending.
Mm-hmm.
Only recently did we pivot and decide to take a traditional balance sheet and add more of a focus to it for this ecosystem in general. So where banks in the US didn't want to touch cryptocurrency, fiat settlement, they were kicking people out for sending money to Coinbase or Kraken. They were demarketing firms that had been at banks for years. We decided to open the doors and say, not only will we take you, we come with a global presence, and we're here to focus on merging traditional niche with the digital age. Because when you think about in the long-term effects, traditional balance sheets are built on handshakes and real estate and a tangible asset. You can no longer just operate that way. You know, in 5 years, our CEO believes if you're not in blockchain as a bank, you're going to be out of banking. So you may see a lot of acquisitions and mergers alike. So pioneering a balance sheet like ours and investing resources heavily like we are into Signet, we realized that cryptocurrency settlement can take many shapes and forms, not just stable coins and Bitcoin and other, you know, Ethereum. It's how you progress your technology. How do you allow for the world to settle easily? And that is by having foreign exchange wallets, and that's by having instant settlement in all types of currencies, euro, yen, pound, USD. So broader perspective, we got to look 5-10 years ahead, not just now. So building something for instant settlement for many currencies.
Okay. Well, with anyone else on the panel want to chime into that?
This is
opinions?
Warren from Nevis. I just add a note on top of that. First of all, I agree with Joe that speed and the ease of clearing multiple different currencies is going to be key. At the same time, looking at also clearing of securities is another big area that is going to be developing, I think, in the future. And it's something that from our experience, at least in working with HWGG Capital and Investment Bank, we're focused, I think, as much on the clearing of the currency, traditional currency, crypto as well, but also taking a focus at securities and how are these going to be developed. There's obviously a tremendous fertile ground for that in the crypto environment, but we also have to be looking, I think, at some of the more traditional structures that should not be forgotten about and are really coming up quite fast. So SWIFT, for example, is developing an international instant GPI that effectively is going to allow near instant payments as well, and may actually end up being a competitor to the crypto space with respect to some of its benefits, which is sort of that speed of settlement that Joe was talking about. I think one of the most important things that any bank or financial services provider can focus on at this point is providing sort of a range of services to these emerging markets. So Nevis International Bank and Trust is ready at this point, encourages everyone to go to the website and take a look at sort of the breadth of services and breadth of deliverables that we offer, and again, focusing on this as a base, but really as a breadth of services that will be developed and really developed in line with that idea of being very fluid, immediately executable, and doing this in line not just with crypto, but also with some of these traditional processes that are going to be catching up technology-wise.
Okay. I mean, I guess I caught this article on Reuters about, the SWIFT lockdown potentially to China and how the flows would get redirected. How do you think that's going to change for your business or impact your business?
To Nevis?
Yeah.
I think it really depends on, first of all, nothing quite has happened yet. Let's see.
Right.
what happens in reality. But I think no matter which way you cut it, China and the rest of the world are going to be working together for a long time. We're the biggest economies. There's no way that there's really going to be, I think, in my mind, a material decoupling. So what's really important is that payment systems, whether they're in Asia Pacific or in the West, that we continue to move toward a fast, integrated approach. And I think if for whatever reason, China were to move off of SWIFT, you're going to have, probably a lot of outflow, frankly, from China to other areas that are going to jump back onto SWIFT or onto crypto or onto some of these other systems. So I think you can't hold those funds in. The best approach is to provide the controls and transparency that you need to achieve your policy purposes, but at the same time, allow that to be exposed to the outside world, because without that type of interaction, the rest of this technology is just going to keep moving forward.
Right. All right, we've reached almost pretty much the end of the webinar. I wanted to thank the whole everyone on the panel for your time. I did want to share that we've got on the screen here. Yeah. All right. So Code Asia. Led by IBFC, hosting it in KL. You can see it on the screen there. Everyone on the call, we can share the same slide. You can scan it on the QR code. It was a great event. We actually participated, Fusang participated last year. And so just scan it and get some more information. Now, going forward, I think the next webinar that we plan to host will be focused squarely on digital asset space. Obviously, there's been a huge amount of activity that's happening, especially in the cryptocurrency space where it's becoming more mainstream, more looking at central bank digital currencies and stable coins, perhaps how that's going to change the world of finance in the future. So we'll be promoting that, and we'll have another panel of speakers. And thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon. And like I said, we'll be following up everyone on this call with some of the materials that we talked about throughout this event. So thank you, everyone. Stephen, Joseph, Kevin.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.
I thank Nevis.com to open your accounts today.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Well.
Bye-bye.